Good afternoon, everyone. This is Joel reporting for Wild Food Cafe, and we're going to make some recipes today to help you feel invincible. So, how do we feel more invincible? Well, we work with Mother Nature, who is invincible, has been here for millions, if not billions of years, and we're working with Mother Nature's finest ingredients that haven't been weakened or tampered with in any way, that are grown in mineral-rich soil. We're using a few wild-crafted ingredients today. If some of these are too unusual for some people, so we're going to be working nettles today. I'm going to show nettle smoothie maybe two different ways to show you that there's flexibility in the recipe. And for those who can't find nettle, even though it's growing everywhere, or haven't learned to forage it, we're going to use some Cavolo Nero or some dinosaur kale, I think they call it, or Lacinto kale in America. And we're going to show a few different versions. We're going to use whole apples, which is quickest and easiest, and you get more fiber and all the stuff that comes with the fiber. It's not just a thing called fiber, it's more grounding. And then one we're going to try with apple juice. So the ones with apples we're going to use, and we have a wonderful chef Michele coming up the stairs with some desserts. So the one with whole apples, we're going to use a few dates to make it extra sweet, but the apple juice version, we're just going to try if that's sweet enough. So you always want to balance your flavors. We want it to be delicious, and one of the things that's going to make it delicious is the sweetness, to balance the bitterness of the nettles. So we've got nettles two ways today. These were picked a few days ago for the restaurant, so they're not quite at their greenest. And one of the things with several greens, including nettles and things like basil and mint, as we know, they brown or bruise or go dark easily. So these are kind of on the edge. If these went any darker than this, I would probably throw them out, but they're still good. They're starting to brown, so they oxidize quite easily. And then we also have some dried nettles here, which you can get at a good herbalist or online, or dry your own. And to stop these nettles getting any more oxidized in the juice, one of the ways that we're going to do that is add a sour or acidic element. So today, in one option, we will use whole lime, organic lime. We'll use it with the skin on, and the other option we'll use some pre-squeezed lemon juice. So you have two possibilities there, and there are several others, but just to show you. So different foods fit in the different categories. On the bitter side, predominantly bitter, we've got the green leaves, which is the kale, the nettles, the dried nettles, and another option we have is the hemp leaf, which doesn't go as dark when you blend it. On the sour side, we've got the whole limes or lemons, or the lime or lemon juice. On the sweet side, we have whole apples, apple juice, dates, and or mulberries. Of course, mulberries can grow in the UK. Dates, it's a bit harder. Depends how local you would like to be. And then on another side, we've got fresh whole ginger, and we've got a little bit of ginger juice. And then maybe, depending on how much blending we have to do, some ice to cool things down. And then to make everything a lot more creamy, we've got brown sesame seeds. Now, brown sesame seeds are known or thought to have between 3 and 10 times the calcium as white sesame seeds that have their hull removed. And they are a lot more flavoursome, more on the bitter spectrum, because they have all this extra calcium in them. So depending if you can handle your bitterness, you might want to balance it with a bit of sourness, which is what sour does the job of, and sweetness will help balance it out as well. So let's get cracking. Without the talking, this can be done in just a couple of minutes. With the talking, also. So if you're using whole lemons or limes that are organic, as I mentioned, you can use the whole thing, pith and skin and all. So there's actually at least 2 to 3 times the vitamin C in the pith as the skin. Obviously, this lime has very thin pith compared to lots of the lemons you get in the UK, which have a good centimetre or so sometimes of pith. And of course, there's lots of zestiness in the zest. So they've cut them up small enough to get them blended and started. Put a little bit of water in. Now, just making this up on the fly. If you have any suggestions, no, I want that, but that, we'll do it that way. Any of these options, like the different sweets, can be combined with the different greens, can be combined with the different sours. You only really need one of each element. So the first one we are going to do let's feel it out. Let's have sesame. Now the reason the limes or lemons, or lemon juice or lime juice go in first is that will stop anything else you get blended in from going brown or oxidizing, including the apples. Just like the nettles can go brown or black, so can apples. So to stop them going brown, we've got the sour element in there first. So, this hot first version, we'll go for the fully fresh version with these English apples. And as you see, I'm only really removing the stalk. I could take the little fluffy bit off the bottom, but it doesn't really matter when you've got a powerful enough blender. Seeds are going in. Don't worry about an apple tree growing in your stomach. Yes, they do contain certain things which some people are worried about, but we're talking about you have to eat a ridiculous amount of apple seeds for anything to be a problem. As any naturist knows, everything can be a medicine and everything can be a poison. We can overdo anything, and we're not asking anyone to overdo apple pits, just like we're not asking anyone to overdo water. Because you could drink too much water, but it would take a ridiculous amount of water and it would feel really bad long before you got yourself into trouble. For the ginger, we're going to chop that up extra fine. It's one of those things with such tough fibers that even with the most powerful blenders, sometimes can get stringy bits. So depending how much ginger you can handle and you like, you're going to put that much in. And depending on how strong the ginger you have is, because there's a huge variation in the spiciness of ginger available. So I'm going to feed in these nettles, and yes, these are stinging nettles, but one of the benefits of them being picked several days ago is that they become less stinging. So I've actually de-stalked this whole lot of nettles without being stung yet, and I'm handling them barehanded. Wow, nearly half a sting there, but I love it. So next on with the lid, just because we like to do this, a little pinch of wild organic salt. Could be Cornish salt, Scottish salt. Get some very nice French wild salt, unprocessed here. And there's all the elements. Great, we're going to blend this and then adjust it after turning it on. I counted to about 60 in my head there. I'm generally counting when I use the Vice Mixer a lot of the time when I go on, just because it gives me a feel for how long. I don't really blend anything over 2 minutes. So also I have my hands on the side, which I like to do to gauge the temperature. So I put a little bit of ice in there, still a pretty cool temperature, but I just feel it will help it right now. It's kind of like adding water, ice, after it's cold. Okay, gonna give it a taste. Yummy, but you could definitely do with a couple more apples. These are very small apples. So, apples, one of the greatest things that grows in England, as we will show through the course of this show, how many things they can be put in. And of course, because apples grow on trees, you can grow a whole fruit forest around them and a whole garden of fruits and veggies beneath them. And they provide shade for the earth, so you can grow the whole ecosystem in an orchard, not just apple trees, which is very good for remineralizing the soil, raising the water table, and all kinds of other issues that humans think they have. So let's get these apples smooth. A bit more water. Drink, in terms of it being quite thick. enough. Of course, some apples a lot more sour, some bitter. Boy, oh boy. So, that's still not sweet enough. So, I'm going to add the apple juice in this one because it's too late to blend the dates now. As you'll see on the next version I'm about to make, the dried fruit, it's good to add it in first. Now it would be a waste to try and blend dried fruit in 2 liters of liquid that's already been blended for 90 seconds or so. Great, so that's done. Pour some of that for ice day. I have a feeling she's going to like it even sweeter, but we can have more apple juice in a minute.
That's for you.
Share that with the rest of the team. Okay, version 2 coming up now. So just a couple more things to say about apple. This fruit is in season like a good 9 months of the year and should probably be the staple food of England for superior vitality and health and helping everyone feel invincible and have food sovereignty rather than relying on mono-agriculturally produced acres and acres of this land covered in things like wheat and rye and barley. We could cover the place in a fruit forest of predominantly things like apples and plums, and those, just like the things like the wheat and the rye and the barley, are carbohydrates. But these are a lot fresher, have a lot more living, sweet, delicious waters in them, make people generally feel a lot happier, help the body flow really well from the gastrointestinal tract to the vitality of every single cell. So we will be moving more in this direction. So this is how we do it. The next version coming up, we're going to go for, again, starting with the sour, so we're going to put lemon juice in this time. Again, could be lemon or lime. We're going to put the ginger juice in this time. Again, could be just solid chopped ginger. We've still got some apple, but just to show you can mix it up. Generally, it's best to keep things as simple as possible. Why add 3 sweet fruits or 4 or 5 sweet fruits when you can just add 1 or 2 or 3? So, since mulberries grow in this country, even though the dried mulberries that you buy in England aren't from England, we could plant mulberry trees everywhere. They are incredibly delicious. They could grow everywhere, and once you grow a mulberry tree, it's easy to recreate the whole biodiverse ecosystem. So they're not quite as sweet as dates, but we're going to get started with that. And we're going to put this kale in, and we're going to put this whole lot. So that nettles, just so you've got an idea of how much nettles we used, that was in fact 99 grams of nettles. It came out at. This is, well, 242 grams of kale, which is the size of this bunch. We'll cut off the ends, just because they're a bit dry and tired. Just a couple of millimeters, waste as zero waste as possible. And then again, kale, very rich, thick fibers. So especially on the stalkier end, I'm going to cut it fine every few millimeters. This is just to make the work easier on the blender, help your blender last longer. And then as we get more towards the less stalky end, don't need to chop it up as much. Now this is quite a bit of kale. It's going to be quite a strong smoothie, but we'll just extra sweeten it. So best thing to do is feel it out as you go. Once you have the principles, you can infinitely adapt it. So because I've made variations on this smoothie so many hundreds or thousands of times, I'm feeling it out. I know I'm going to need more sweetness. The dates are much sweeter than the mulberries, and these are some organic Tunisian dates, or Degler Nord, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 dates, and these are a much wilder variety of date than the more medjool type of dates. So enough water to get the blender going. Now, did I put sesame? No. So the sesame is going to help break down the vegetable fibers of the kale, add some lovely creaminess to it. We want to do our best not to overdo the fats and oils because they're very easy to overdo, but at least using the good quality healing fats and oils in their whole.
Oh, we're back.
There we go.
We're back. Okay. Great. So we're about to blend this up. Alright, that is a good start to blending, just to show you that you can do this with dried nettles. Now, even though these nettles are dry, they have such good nutrition. Nettles, one of the richest, if not the richest foods in iron. Great mineral to have in your body, will help you feel like Iron Man. So that's a handful, that's maybe 10, 11 grams, I guess, off the top of my head. Just make it extra green and crazy. And that's going to make it very filling as well. So those nettles are an optional extra. You don't need to put more than one type of green if you prefer. But just to give it that extra wild edge. Since we have it, we need to use the last cup or half a cup of this apple juice. Hope that we made it sweet enough because we are winging it, because that's what you do in real life. Fly by the seat of your pants. Of course, you can sit with the recipe open and we will type up several versions of this recipe so you can see them. Wow. Alright, we're going to get a cup for that. Got any questions online, Barbara Eyestay? Okie dokie. So, thank you, beloved.
Thank you. This looks very filling.
And very green because of the dried fruits. It's made it a bit creamier and more filling. Cheers. So as you see, we made there 2 liters. 2 liters is gonna fill at least one person, or not 2 people up, for 1 or 2 meals. So know how much abundance that is. Now, some people might insist on drinking that for 1 person in one go, but that would be pretty crazy. The greens are going to fill you up. If that was just apples blended in there, you could burn through it pretty quick and pretty easy, and it doesn't have the mineral density that's in the greens. So by eating the greens with it, which not only has the mineral density, it has the energetic density. In other words, the electromagnetic field of each of those minerals, each of those vibrations and each of those frequencies really nourish us on a very deep level, especially the more alkaline minerals of iron, magnesium and calcium.
It's very energizing, and nettle is in season right now. You can get baby nettles foraged or even in health food shops. It's often less fibers than
And the farmers
later on.
markets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we toast to your health.
Cheers.
And thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Feel free to post up requests for recipes you would like us to do. On the simple side to start with, because we're keeping these Monday videos live and short. And also any specific ingredients you would love us to use otherwise. Of course, we're going to keep using as many seasonal things as possible and local things as possible. Peace, stay wild, stay delicious, and see you soon.
See you soon.